Police firearm training needs to change.
I want you to cut that time in half. I want you to get to 2.5. And then we look at your target. And then you go, and then it starts to look like a shotgun, hit it. And you're like, no big deal. We're training.
Right.
This is okay. Like, and it's another thing I talk about in training as well with guys. I'm like, listen, we're training right now. This is all that this is. It's okay to fail. But I want you to, when you do fail, go, why did I fail? What did I do wrong to screw this up?
Right.
Cool. I did this, get over it, and get right back into the training. Go, yes, okay. Let me work on this again.
Right.
And that's what guys don't, especially cops. They're like, no, I don't like that. I mean, my target I want it to look like this. I'm like, dude, we're training. This is okay.
Right.
Like I want
that means
you
you're out of
to
your comfort zone.
Exactly.
Like that's what you need.
Yes. I want you to get used to that. So then if you, let's say you do get it down to a 2.5 and then at 7 yards or 21 feet, your group looks like it's a little bit bigger than a golf ball, right? So it's 3 inches, 3.5 inches. So it's a good group. And that's, it's all these splits and Now you're like, okay, so now how would your confidence be?
Yeah. Way up.
Right. So now you're dealing with me and you're the officer, like, and you're seeing me act all erratic and do stuff. You're going to have high confidence, high ability, and you're probably going to wait just a little bit longer to pull that gun. That's truly what when you hear in law enforcement, cops talk about or administrators talk about, we need to change the paradigm in law enforcement training. 100% we do. And that's the way we do it right there. Problem is, it comes right back to what I said before. That takes work from instructors and they don't want to do that. They want to hit the easy button and go, that's a lot of work, Dustin. You're right, it is. Because now as an instructor, I have to keep my skills up.
Yeah, of course.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you don't want to get smoked by the freaking 22-year-old fresh recruit that came in there and he's been practicing for 5 years or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And and I've told this story a couple other times, Jared, and those guys have heard it. And I tell people usually when I'm teaching pistol classes, like the first match I ever shot, it was like early 2020. It was literally like the weekend before the vids kicked off, right? And we're at this match and I was shooting production in. And so it was basically a gun out of the box. It was iron sights. I could only put 10 rounds in a magazine. It was really limited there with USPSA. And so you got, I look like a Batman belt. I got all these magazines on me and there's this dude in front of me. He's like 65 years old. He literally walks up with a cane, right, to start. And I'm like,
I just wait like a 10-gallon cowboy hat,
right.
Like bow-legged.
Yes.
Marlboro red hanging out.
Right. Everything you can imagine is like, and I'd been a cop, I'd had 20 years in, always been on SWAT. So I was a 20-year SWAT dude, been to a lot of training. I'm like, this guy, So he stands up. He literally gives his cane to the RO, the range officer. Like, hey, Jimmy, hold this for me. And the guy's like, oh, I got you, Mike. He's like, I'll load up. And he loads his gun and puts it in his holster. He's like, you ready to go? He's like, yep, okay. All right. Beep. That old dude pulled that pistol out and blazed the ops. He shot everything. And I'm like, holy fuck. Like, this was pretty amazing. I'm like, we'll see how this, I kind of roll my eyes. I look at my buddy. I go, right. Okay. Dude, they're walking out. And then because they're scoring targets, like I said, alpha is the best part, right? So it's all center chest, that's USPSA targets. So that's worth 5 points each. Right. And you're shooting 2 rounds per target. So he's like, so the guy walks up, he's like, 2 alpha, 2 alpha, 2 alpha, 2 alpha, 2 alpha. And I'm like, so I walk over to the timer. I'm like, hey man, what do you run that in? He's like, 15 seconds or something stupid. And I'm like, what did I run that in? He's like, I don't know. So he's pulling up the computer, and he's like, on the iPad, he's like, oh, you ran it in like 32 seconds. I'm like,
he's like, shit.
Yeah. I'm like, so I literally just had my shit pushed in by this old dude. I'm like, okay. And I called a couple of my buddies and I'm like, hey man, I want to know more about this USPSA game. And they're like, gotcha. I'm like, God damn it. I'm like, okay, let's go. And then again, that's where, as a firearms instructor, I took it back to my department and was like, hey, let's do this. Let's do practical shooting. Let's use the skills and drills from practical shooting and train our people to shoot this way. And let's see what happens. And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, okay. So we did a range day. I took them out on the range, got them away. We were still shooting guns with irons on them. I'm like, stop looking at the front sight, look at the target, pick out a very small spot, bring it up. When the iron sight, the front sight breaks your eye target line, just squeeze the trigger. And I had a 1-inch piece of tape on everybody's target. Every single person, pow, center punch that tape. And they went, wow, there's something to this. And I'm like, yeah, this is how we're going to train. And that's what we started doing. And
so wait, hold on. What's the trick on that then?
So this is called target focus sighted fire.
Okay.
So if you have an iron sighted gun, you shoot an iron sighted gun just like you shoot a red dot on a pistol.
Right.
Same exact thing. I don't look at the red dot on the pistol.
Right.
At least you shouldn't be.
No,
right?
you're looking through it.
Yeah, you're looking through it. And then basically I pick a spot like on that post over there, right? There's a black mark on it. So if this is my front sight, right? I don't bring it up. I'm not looking at it and then bring my vision back to this. because then I start doing this.
Right.
And you're like, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. And then your eyes start doing this stuff, right? Look at it. When your front sight comes up and it covers up what you're looking at, press the trigger. The round's going to go right where you look. Love it or hate it, the rounds go where you look. How do we know that, right? Look at force on force training for cops. Where do the vast majority of the guys that are playing the bad guys get shot at? They get shot in the hands. Why? Because that's where the officers are looking. They're looking straight there. They're like, pop, pop, and that's where they start shooting. So you do the same thing with an iron-sighted gun. You do target focus sighted fire. I pick a small spot on the target, and I look at that, I cover it up. And when this front sight breaks the eye target line, so if I'm looking at the target like this, and there's a line, imaginary line there, as soon as that comes up and I touch it, I press the trigger.